That is pretty funny. It's like, fuck the man. Did you just put white in that traditional tattoo? What the fuck?
You don't fucking put white in reels.
Break rules like that.
It's like, dude, you were just smoking crack in the parking lot.
You just robbed a bank, asshole. Let's start a podcast because these
We're
2
12
weeks
in.
they go. I know, but they go by like quick.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like we were just here filming episode 5, and I was like, wow, I can't believe it's episode 5 already, and now we're here. Anywho, 80s, 90s. We're gonna kind of like continue with design and style, and now we're gonna kind of break down a little bit about like specific styles, but I think this podcast is going to focus mostly on one style that was born late 70s, early 80s kind of thing, and develop more into the 90s and then moving forward as well.
I don't know what you just said.
That's new school.
New school? The birth of the new age.
The new school versus the old one.
Yeah, so just to jump in, I think tattooing style kind of stayed very along the lines of traditional in the United States from the 1890s till 1979, 80s is when the birth of new school started coming around. With
one of other things too, you know.
Oh, for sure. I thought we were going.
No, we are. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we'll just kick that off with some inspiration of how it kind of like evolved to be and similarities it still held with traditional tattooing.
That's kind of interesting, a thought that you just said, like, how did new school come to be? So what, like, I wonder what caused artists to like start, because they've been doing the same thing roughly for like hundreds of years.
Yeah, really. I mean, like we talked about Hildebrandt.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was rocking in like 1885 roughly.
Yep. That's what I was going to say, 1890-ish.
Yeah. And like the evolution of American traditional, yes, of course it changed. The designs got a little more like complex and like added more things. Taking influence from Japanese, adding clouds and waves to, turn it to more of a piece rather than a stamp.
Was new school before neo-traditional?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was, like, significantly so.
I'm thinking that I could be wrong, but I think neo-traditional is a derivative of new school tattooing. Like the way I was kind of looking at it when we were doing our studies was new school came around with, as we'll talk about later, like Disney and graffiti and like really character drawings with like a lot of personality, like huge eyes and huge lips or tiny eyes. Exaggerating features.
Yep.
Which then people were looking at like traditional stuff and they're like, oh, I could do like really any imagery and just kind of like exaggerate things, like almost as a cartoonist would.
Yeah, and you and I talked yesterday how neo-traditional is basically like almost like a blend of traditional and realism.
Yeah.
Because it's got those moments of realism. A lot of the shading is that way. The coloring, if it's a color piece.
40 plus colors rather than 5 or whatever.
Right, whatever they were working with. And I think like, so a new school was basically just that. It was like almost a different type of neo-traditional, really. Like,
for sure.
Or the start of it. Like,
so I completely agree. Because I think like when talking about new school, and we're going to go into this, but it still had bold lines and nice color saturation. But the introduction of like thick lines, thin lines, and smooth color gradients those things I think neo-traditional artists picked apart and were like, ooh, I like those bold lines next to thin lines with these like crazy colorful, like smooth transitions.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, but I don't really love the imagery that's being like laid down and the cartoony aspect.
That would make sense. Like,
so they're like
less cartoony.
And more went towards traditional design, like ladies' faces, torches, daggers, you name it, any American traditional imagery. And then they're like, I'm just going to do American trad shit, but have this new school influence of all those things we just talked about, and just incorporate it into traditional.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
I think that's spot on. Like, you see so many of the tricks that are used in new school tattooing that weren't used in traditional tattooing, American traditional tattooing. And you see those bleed into neo-traditional all over the place. And there's like, again, like you mentioned with the thicker lines, the softer lines, the depth, like some things were like maybe lined in color just to push it back.
Right. That was a whole new introduction, I feel like.
I see that. Like when I was researching for my part of today's podcast for this show, like new school, I'll just say it. I said what I said. It's just not my favorite style of tattooing, and so I don't know much about it. So getting ready for today's episode, like you and I talked yesterday.
We had to do some research.
We had to do a lot of research, and we were like, this is kind of cool because we're learning more stuff about, about the industry, just stuff that we don't naturally gravitate towards.
Right.
And, but in doing the research, like, I'm looking through some of the artists that we're going to talk about here in a few moments that were like leaders of the new school movement. And like, I'm looking through some of their work, and I mentioned it to you before, like it's blowing my mind. Like, I like new school now a little bit more than I did before we started doing the research for today's episode.
I love that.
For sure.
Because I literally like was in the shower this morning doing my usual thinking, and I was like, I don't know shit about new school tattooing. Like, I can't even like really name artists because, again, like you just said, like tattoos have always like captured my attention. But like when I saw, and even as a graffiti artist, new school still didn't like hit with me, and I was just like, I'm just not a cartoonist. Like I like some animated shows and stuff, and I can really appreciate like really dope animated stuff. Yeah, it just never really like stuck with me. I'd see new school art and I'm like, yeah, I mean, you can draw like a motherfucker. Like they are some of the most creative, talented drawers, I think.
Oh, for sure.
Like honestly, maybe even some of the most creative, talented drawers. But to me, I was like, I don't know, dude. I'm not really into like dinosaurs wearing bikinis and just like crazy.
Right.
Shit.
But if you talk about the drawing part of it, like. That's another thing that's like kind of a calling card of that style is like there's so much movement. There's so much going on. And you've got squirrels wearing sport coats and they're swirling around a tree, With
it's these like, crazy smoke effects that are like pink and neon green. And I mean, it really like, the graffiti aspect. Like as a graffiti artist, I always really liked like, just like really bold graffiti like words,
right?
And I never was really into like the homies, the characters, and like
brats.
Yeah, like it just like.
But if you ever saw like, that was always cartoonish.
It was very cartoonish.
If there was a person on the
wall with
or whatever,
and I always appreciated like they had their character like spray painting the piece as if it looked like the character. I was like,
actually doing it. That's pretty.
But I'm more looking at the word and the letters always captivated my eyes. Like, oh, you can draw an A 10,000 different ways. That's cool as fuck to me.
Yeah.
I just wasn't really into like pinup girls and like that. Right, I mean, I like a traditional pinup girl, but like the new age graffiti pinups, I'm like, yeah, it's sick, sexy, whatever. But
right.
I just don't want to draw that.
Just
myself.
Not what you want to do.
Yeah.
I got stopped by a train the other day, and it had a bunch of cool graffiti on the cars, and I went to record it because I was going to show Josh, And I did one of those things, I don't know if you guys ever do this, where you hold your camera up and you're like recording,
but also trying to watch.
And trying to watch, and then you look down and you didn't hit the record button successfully. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
More trains.
I'll just tell them about it.
Damn it.
But there was some really sick stuff on there for sure.
I mean, not to like dive too hard into the graffiti scene, but like, it's just so cool to like get into a spot, know you have 10 minutes max, and like do something worth showing lots of fucking people from across. And it's your name, so it's like there's nothing to hide behind.
Right.
It's either shitty or it's awesome. Like,
right.
Not really an in between. Or it's like undone, and you're like, oh, maybe like they got rolled up on by like a crew or the cops and like had to stop. It's fascinating.
Do they ever come back like next week?
I have seen. I got to sit next to an artist. He goes by Saber on the train once. Super fucking rad, wild style, like one of the like OGs in LA wild style scene, and he talked about like having, because his pieces take an hour plus, they're 1,000 lines in this piece, and so he's like, I'd have to like pick times and days where I could like go back in spots where I knew I could potentially go back and like finish my piece. And he's not a type of guy that's like gonna pop up on an overpass. Well, he does have that, but not his like main pieces. They're all in like abandoned buildings and in like drainage ditches and stuff where he knows he can like kind of come back to it and like really put some effort and time into, and not getting caught or rolled up on.
So is he a big part of that film you mentioned the other day that was kind of...
I don't think Sabers, and so we were going to mention Style Wars.
And Wild Style, right?
Wild Style, yeah. He definitely, I can't say for sure because it's been 15, 20 years since I watched Wild Style, but when I saw his work on the Amtrak, I feel bad even talking about this because I feel like graffiti artists don't want anyone to know ever, but this was just like a wholesome moment as like a 20-year-old where I was like, oh my God, like I recognized, because he was moving to, I won't say where, but he was moving and he was on the train, and he had his whole like black book and his whole, and this is 2012, so like back when he paired big portfolios and stuff, and he kind of had his stuff out and he was like working on some stuff, and I just was like, yo dude, this stuff's really cool, do you mind if I like take some pictures of it? Like I love graffiti, I do it. And he was like, yeah man, like sit down. And we were on the train from from LA to Santa Barbara, so we had like 2.5 hours, kind of like I was drawing my little like graffiti slappy stickers, and we just like bonded. But I think, going back to the original question, I think he had to have been in that film because he is one of like the OG.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we'll put up a piece of his and show you guys. It's fucking phenomenal art for the time, too.
But those films and graffiti in general were, we found out in our research, like pretty big influencers for the new school style tattooing.
It actually almost like goes hand in hand with like graffiti epidemic in New York City in the 70s, like blowing up. We'll show you train cars and stuff. Like, dude, there wasn't a square inch in a train car or subway in New York that wasn't blasted inside and out.
Right.
And like, it didn't become mainstream at all, but it was very in the eye of the public.
It's just a lot of people doing it.
And seeing it. And so I think a lot of tattoo artists were like, yo, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. Like, we've been doing this traditional thing for a long time and been stuck to, like, all of our mentors, or I'm speaking as if I grew up with them and tattooed. It's like they're saying I can only use the Sailor Jerry palette or whatever. Like Ed Hardy kind of opened the gate to like oranges and purples and teals, but it wasn't really used like across the board as a mainstream.
Yeah, I heard a lot of those colors he brought over from Japan.
Yeah, and like Australia, I think like had some oranges and purples. I can't remember, the like pigment history is actually really cool because back in that day, you would be able to spot people's art and know what artists did it because like only certain artists had certain colors depending on what parts of the world they had traveled to and the pigments they collected and whatnot.
On that note, there was a thing that I kind of wanted to insert in one of the earlier episodes, but it it ties in here. A fun fact I heard years ago watching a documentary about Sailor Jerry is people would want him to send them his acetate stencils so they could do his work.
Really?
And he would change them a little bit so they'd be wrong.
Savage.
So no one was actually tattooing his, like, exactly his designs. So you could almost always tell a true Sailor Jerry versus a knockoff. Someone else did it because he would mess it up a little bit.
That's amazing that he sent out his essays. People. Like
he put them in the mail. It's crazy.
I wonder if he like sold them to them or what.
It might have been that sort of thing where you just sell the image or the acetate stencil, but yeah, the documentary was like he always like changed it, messed it up a little bit.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, what a time to like imagine just like waiting for your new stencils in the mail. You're like, I'm about to have some dope tats next week. Like, just gotta wait for the postman to get here.
It should be here in a minute.
What a weird. That like goes to show how much of a trade. Like tattooing is still a craft and a trade.
Yeah.
And it always will be. But there were so many tattoo artists tattooing that like could not draw.
Oh yeah.
Like at all.
Yeah.
Can you imagine waiting 6 days for a box of stencils when you could literally
just go draw one and make one? Yeah, it's funny. I like one of my early tattoos that I got. I drew it. It was this flower right here, and I went to the artist and was like, "Can you do I have to pick a design out of the book, or can you do like whatever?" And he said, "I'll tattoo whatever. I can tattoo whatever you show me, or whatever you want me to tattoo." But he's like, "I just don't draw."
So like you could like trace your drawing on stencil paper.
Yeah, and that's what he did. But he was like, "I don't draw."
And we did talk about that. Like one of my favorite black and gray artists. Yeah, just great at Photoshop and collaging, but
photo collage
does not draw. I mean, and again, going back to it's a craft, it's a trade. It's not all about how well you can draw, which maybe we'll talk about later in another episode.
Yeah, because I do think it was very much like not much different than just like learning a trade, like woodworking or electrician or something. It just happened to be tattooing, you know?
Right, and just because you can draw does not mean you can tattoo. Like,
and
there's
really,
a lot of people that think that.
I mean, if you got a steady hand and you can follow a line, that's all it takes. At the end of the day.
No, it's true. I mean,
I am going off stencil based.
Partially because, like, when I first learned how to tattoo, people would, like, come up and they'd see, like, my drawings and they're like, yo, I want that tattooed on me. I'm like, I can't tattoo that shit. Like, let's do some, like, solid black stuff or, like, font or text or, like, dates or, you know, like, tribal or... Because all I know how to do is like pack black and pull a line.
Right. I got this tribal deer design I found on the internet. Let's pop that
right. Or like a jaguar head on someone's back and tribal. I did that one. Just fucked up to look at today. Still got to cover that. But yeah, dude, it's just super interesting. Like the evolution of like drawing or not drawing. What do you do?
Yeah.
I would say I'm still half and half. I'm still like drawn to the allure of like realism, and I use Photoshop and like collect images and chop them up. And like there's a piece yesterday, I think I was on like 27 layers. I'm like grabbing hands from photos and a boob from a photo and a feather from a photo and like just like chopping it all up. And then once I got the layout, then I'll draw with like a brush tool to like create shadows and highlights and like change things.
Maybe connect a little here and there a little bit.
The guy was like, oh, I want her face to look more like my wife's face. So then I just go in with like a brush tool and like elongated her nose and sharpened her jaw and changed her eyebrows and her eyelids and, you know, like draw on top of the images.
Right.
But it's more like digitally painting, I guess, at that point rather. And then it's just like, create a stencil and follow my image.
Yeah.
That I'm looking at. So yeah, I mean, just to show a reference, like this is the drawing. Of like 27 layers of like.
Oh wow!
It's a different arm. It's a different hand. These feathers are all different, or wings, and like And I used my brush tool to like create things, but like her face did not look like that in the beginning. And
legit
so,
job.
yeah,
Like it looks like it was just like a kind of looks like a stock image, you know, just like
it does. And it's
you
like,
crushed it.
yeah, I'm just like, I just get a different face and literally like get pictures of like nude people and grab her boob. Oh, that's the angle that it should be on, and like just change it from color to black and gray and drop it in there and like
Good to go.
just now you got a one of one design, but it's a shit ton of different pictures off the internet.
Yeah, that's wild. That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, back to sorry.
No, it's fine. We good.
Shit.
So we should, I guess we can talk about some of the, like we mentioned, Disney as an influence. Early 2000s came along. You had like Miami Ink, LA Ink.
Huge influence. Because you watch the show more than I do. But, and I did watch a lot of Miami Ink when it came out. I think I was like in high school. But they actually had like, correct me if I'm wrong, but they had segments where, or like challenges where a new school design was always incorporated.
Ink Master, yep.
Oh, an Ink Master, excuse me, not Miami.
Yeah, they do a good job on Ink Master, I think, with like today's realism challenge, today's new school challenge, today's whatever.
Japanese trad or whatever.
And when you've seen these contestants on Ink Master that are new school innovators and like some of the first people doing it, when they go to those challenges on the show, they're like, oh, I got this in the bag. And then, you know, they don't always win them, you know, because something or other. But like three of the people we could talk about today, I mean, most of them, not most of them, but you look at like Kelly Doty, Joe Capobianco, Clean Rock One. Those three were all on Ink Master.
Oh, really?
At one point. They were famous. They were names before they were on that show, which is usually not the case.
Kind of the opposite.
And then Jesse Smith, who we want to talk about a little bit too. I think he was on that other show, Best Ink.
Okay.
He might have been on Ink Master, but I'm pretty sure it was Best Ink is what actually was.
I don't even know what that show
They only did like
watch this.
So that's what Teresa Sharp won that show.
Oh, okay.
And that's what kind of springboarded her career.
Got it.
It was the same thing as Ink Master. It was a competition show. I think they only did like 2 seasons.
Really?
And then it was done.
Track, like
it was on, what episode? It didn't matter. Best Ink. But yeah, it fizzled out pretty quick.
Did it?
But I do remember Jesse Smith was on there and Kelly Doty, or not Kelly Doty, Teresa Sharp.
Are LA Ink and Miami Ink and Ink Master the same producers? Do you know?
That's a good question. I don't know that.
I don't know either. It almost seems like it's filmed in a like similar, I guess, like LA and Miami. Was there New York Ink too?
Yep.
Yeah.
New York Ink, Miami Ink, LA
That
Ink.
seemed like all
And
one.
they were more focused on the customer, right? Because like we talked about a few episodes back where it's like, you know, if you get 4 people in here getting matching tattoos because their grandma passed away or whatever, and you get to hear all those stories about that and
watching them draw it up and like going back and forth.
Yeah.
Creative process.
Yeah. And you hear about like, we're all getting these ducks because grandma had a bunch of duck sculptures everywhere or whatever it was.
Ducks.
Yeah. Exactly.
Tattooed those.
And like, yeah, for me, it was roosters for one of my clients years ago. I tattooed like 5 people in the family.
That's like a little 70s and 80s.
Because grandma had a bunch of roosters everywhere. Porcelain ones, paintings.
Collect everything.
But those 3 shows were more about like, you know, the client would come in, sit with the artist, they'd do a quick consult, and then they would talk about like, you know, like what was causing them to get this tattoo and the tragedy or the triumph that they were celebrating with it. So it was more customer focused.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, no, that show's actually really cool. I got way more into like Miami and LA and New York. Well, it was more mainly New York and Miami because I think they came before LA Ink.
I think Miami Ink was first, and then I think
didn't that like
LA Ink was second
guy
because Kat Von D was on Miami Ink.
Right, and then she moved to LA.
Did LA
Did
Ink.
the high voltage tattoo.
Right, and then I think New York Ink was the last one.
Oh, was it? Honestly, those shows were another reason why I wanted a tattoo for sure. I remember watching.
Oh, I watched all of them, and same
just like,
thing.
it felt like chilling in the shop.
Yeah. They were very influential, and it was like, I want that life. Yeah.
More so than
awesome.
like Ink Master, where Ink Master to me, like, I don't think I ever really liked art competitions. Just like wasn't really I've always known art's so subjective, and like,
Yep.
and even when I see him talk sometimes, I'm just like, bro, shut the fuck up.
Dude, I
like,
would disagree with the judges more than not.
Same. I'm like, and that's where I'm like,
what are you talking about?
I guess it's like, do you think they like do that on purpose so that we sit there and we're like, no,
They might.
you're wrong.
They might. Because if they do, it's working.
Right. Because I'm sitting there watching,
Like, they're killing
bro,
the game.
you fucking asshole. Like,
Yeah,
it's
dude.
a solid or whatever, you know, like
Like, even in the past,
I'm
like,
like, the fuck is that?
Watching the episode where Kelly Doty was on there with her new school tattoo, and they're like ripping the fucking thing apart, and I'm like, it's perfect. What are you doing?
And I know they're like great tattoo artists, but yeah, maybe
You know
not
what?
Kat Von D's.
And here's my suggestion, Paramount.
Fucking good.
I think what would be a kick in the pants is if Ink Master, and this is more me idea, or more the idea for like the old judges. So Nunez, toothpick guy.
Kat Von D's ex-husband.
Yeah.
Fucking.
It's
Oliver Peck.
Oliver Peck, yeah.
Fucking A.
And then, yeah, if I would love to see some Ink Master shows where Oliver and Nunez judge their work
Right.
from when they were on like Miami Ink.
Right. Bro.
20 years ago. And like basically older Nunez judges
His own.
younger Nunez.
Yeah.
And
dude, the problem I always had, especially with Oliver, and I'm sorry this is a hot take, and if you listen, whatever, bro, get at me. Like, everyone that he's slamming on, they can out-tattoo him.
oh yeah. If you look at some of the old episodes,
your lines are solid, your fills are solid, good job. But like, I've never been like, holy fucking shit, bro, like that's amazing.
Yeah, never.
No offense, dude. Like,
never really blew my like the new judges on Ink Master for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
those guys and girls can.
Yeah, but if you watch some of the older episodes of Miami Ink when Nunez is on there and he's just a kid, it's not awesome.
I was just solely speaking about Oliver Peck because that guy bothers me.
Okay.
No, Nunez, I think he does Japanese traditional, right?
Yeah, he does now.
And
or he did back.
I think his
but look at some of his older stuff is like you can see the progression. Like whereas I think new Nunez or current Nunez would look at his old work if they took my show idea and been like, bro, this could have been a little bit better. This could have been a little bit different.
Sure. Like this is spotty, rough heel because I overworked or whatever.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think tattooers should be judged on like their work today because we all sucked ass at tattooing at a point.
I've said it a million times. I don't know how I got hired at Junkyard Ink for my portfolio.
Honestly, I feel you said
I would not have hired me.
Yeah. But it's like, what could you be? Is like what shop owners are looking at, I think. Like, the progression. Like, let me just see like 4 years of your work where it's like, okay, they're growing. Like, they're getting better.
Yeah.
But if you have this like stale portfolio that like 10 years, it's like, okay, bro, like obviously your hand is just like not great. And it's not getting better.
And it's not, there's no improvement in the past.
Right. Like if you have 10 years of blowouts, it's like, all right, dude, like lift your hand up.
Yeah, and I've always said that about the original owner of Junkyard. Like I always thought he was actually had a good eye for recognizing potential.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Whereas he could look at someone that was fairly amateur, at least in their tattoo work, but maybe look at their artwork and be like, yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, but their paintings are really cool.
Yeah. There's potential there. Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, just with those people, Joey, Kelly Dottie, Clean Rock, like they really were the pioneers of the new wave of like new school as we know it, which I'd like to get a little bit into like neo-traditional work because we were talking about it yesterday. It's like a family tree, right? It starts with like trad and then like branches off into new school, and then like new school
trad.
kind of like really created like 10 branches of, and then you have realism over there with kind of below trad because it came later. But it's like it almost starts like crossing over the family of new school and realism kind of birth, like, because how do we even describe this or neo-trad? Like, it's,
well, exaggerated features. Oh, new school, neo-trad. So we talked about that, where it's like, so when you look at traditional, the goal was to dumb it down.
Yes.
To the simplest, purest form of whatever you're doing a neo-traditional tattoo of a rose, let's say. You wanted to get that rose to the simplest form where someone could look at it and instantly be like, that's a rose tattoo. Whereas...
with the fewest lines possible.
And the most basic color palette. Like a lot of their shading was like black,
solid black up to
and
the
then
color,
it would fade out
like
to
a
red
little
or
whip, but
whatever.
we're not gray washing or like doing gradients,
and no real gradient. I think neo traditional was like, neo is basically new traditional, right? So I think they were like, now we have all these tricks that we can do. Our machinery's better, our equipment's better.
Needle groupings are different.
Inks are better. So now...
and more. We have more pigment now.
Right. And we're still in a neo-traditional tattoo design or drawing. You're still like, it's not realism.
Right. There's
so
lines.
You're still dumbing it down a little bit. And a lot of that is in the interest of the longevity of it.
Yes.
So get those good bold lines in there. But then there's parts inside the tattoo where it's like just, a couple degree different of a hue change.
Right.
To separate the shadow of the nose versus the cheek over here. So it's like a little bit of a blend of, like we said earlier, realism and
new
traditional.
School. Or
new school even. But it's like that's what I think it is. It's like, it's traditional, so all the premise is still there. We still need the line work. We still want the good saturation. But we can do new shit. We can do more shit. So let's do it.
That, and like you said it yesterday really well, a new school piece could be considered neo-traditional, but a neo-traditional piece can be considered new school. Right? Is that how you...
It was not all... You can call most new school tattoos neo-traditional, but you can't call most neo-traditional tattoos new school.
And I fully agree with that from a design aspect.
Right.
Just because, like you said, new school has exaggerated features, while neo-trad, it still holds a light to realism. Like, you're not doing like a crazy wonky nose with like massive eyes. Actually, some artists like make the lips and eyes bigger, but I don't think that's like cartoony. I think it's just adding more of a like you're looking directly into the eyes or the lips because they really pop.
Placing importance on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Putting focus.
Featuring it.
They want to focus there.
That's your focal point.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like, but I think, like to that point, like if everything gets exaggerated a little bit more, then now it's bleeding into the new school.
Into the new school.
Whereas
with like fingers being like grotesque and like really big joints with super long nails.
Right.
Like ripped forearms that are just like way bigger than they should be. And it has that cartoon aspect.
Yeah.
Cartoonist aspect.
Yeah. And it's awesome to see, again, like when I was researching some of the artists that we're going to talk about, like when I go back and look at their work, or when I was looking on my phone earlier, and just to see how like Clean Rock One, like let's take him, he kind of bled in like new school with like almost like a rockabilly style. He tattooed a lot of car stuff, motors and stuff like that, but he did some pinup stuff, but it evolved into a little bit of a new school twist like in his later.
Totally.
And then you got like Kelly Doty and Jesse Smith, and that's just new school AF. Like
Right.
all the tricks perfectly done,
Highly saturated.
highly exaggerated, highly saturated, and like
Has
using
that like graffiti.
hard lines, soft lines, all of the things. Very graffiti feel.
Totally. Which visually is so dope. I don't want it on my body personally. I just can't do the like bright colors and like exaggerated stuff. I mean, honestly, I'd get like a badass pinup girl that was like half tiger, like a cool tail. And, like,
Oh,
big
dude,
boots
yeah.
and,
If I
like,
think that was actually one of the Ink Master challenges was blending a pinup animals.
Oh, really? See, I mean, I would be down.
That was kind of
that.
cool.
I'm not gonna lie. If any of those four wanted to tattoo that or something like that, I'd be like, all right. There's still the collector in me.
I'll be a
like,
human canvas.
Yeah,
Dude, I would get
I'll
a
collect
little
your shit.
new school thing, you know.
Your word, not your shit.
If I was at a convention. Or something.
Right, yeah. If the artist was right and like, yeah, I'm down. I'm down for sure. I don't want to go. I'm not gonna like hit up a new school artist on Colfax and be like, "Yo, man, like draw me a pinup."
Yeah.
Like,
no, I'm good. I would want a name attached to it, like a good, like, it's a Kelly Doty original
piece.
or whatever. Yeah, collector piece.
100%. Gotta catch them all.
If you look at,
which also was another big influence, actually, randomly said that, like Pokemon and like Japanese anime.
Oh yeah, yep.
Huge influence on new school and
massive
that style of art.
Because they were all doing like you mentioned earlier in the episode about like Disney, where their new direction sort of like exaggerated the eyes on Bambi, and the heads were bigger on the characters, the bodies were smaller. Like you look at like Moana and shit like that.
Yeah.
Those characters in that movie are very, 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 very new school.
Totally. They have the bones of new school.
Yeah, and then
because I think like we were looking yesterday and like Tarzan, Aladdin, Mulan. There's a ton of movies that came out in the 90s that hadn't been premiered yet before that in the 90s, and a lot of tattoo artists, because like new school was born in the 80s, but it didn't become like what it was until the early 90s when a lot of those Disney shows were coming out. I'm not saying it goes directly hand in hand, but it definitely had that influence of like, oh, look at Aladdin's pants. Like, that thing could hold up an airplane. Like, you know, like, things were just super exaggerated. And the flow of the rug and the mane on like Mufasa and all that. Like, it was just like,
100%. And on that note, like, and we'll put up all these artists' works like when it's appropriate on the final cut. But if you look at like Joe Capobianco, Clean Rock One, those guys were a very like 90s style, 80s style, like rockabilly, hot rod style of tattooing, basically. And like, but then they started catching some of that new school influence. So when we look at their work, some of the examples I saved on my phone earlier, it's like, you can see it. Like you can see the new school kind of creeping in, but then you can see the rockabilly or the hot rod art still there. Whereas if you look at some of the newer ones, Clean Rock or Kelly Doty, Jesse Smith, there is no other thing in there. It is 100% true. It is like the defining pieces of what a new school tattoo looks like.
Because they scream it. Like when even like we had an artist at our old shop, your old partner, like when he'd draw, I'm like, that's new school.
Yeah.
Like if I was like draw a tattoo machine that's combined with a tank, it was 100% new school. Like
even
the
his new
wheels
logo
would be like
is pretty new
I
school.
was like that piece of art that hung in the back room with the machine that was like curved and stuff. Like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, you'd be a badass graffiti artist. Like your shit is like 100% new school in my opinion.
Well,
and it's almost hard to even get away from it because it's just like how they draw.
Right, and that's interesting to think about, because that's when most of his apprenticeship and growth went down, would be in the 90s.
For sure, yeah.
So
and I can't remember his mentor style, but was he?
I think very similar. to like a clean rock one, or just that, I don't know what else to call it, 80s, 90s, for lack of a better term, like rock, like hot rod rockabilly, like car, almost like that Rat Fink style, the Rat Fink cartoons, like that sort of. I feel like that was so prevalent. Guys were
interested in motorcycles and cars.
I feel,
not to say they're not anymore, but tattooers, motorcycle culture and tattooing has always been like.
And I feel like in the 80s and 90s, that's like almost like 80s especially was like. That's kind of what tattoos look like. Like most tattoos were just that. It's almost like we can sit here and talk to you about like neo-traditional style or new school. Like we could almost easily say like 80s style. Like
facts.
It's a thing, right? Like,
oh, definitely. Like
you can't say 2020 style because that's
every style.
Everything. It's all over the place.
But you can say, but 80s, I will always, this is a really cool thing that I think about theory I have in the evolution of tattoo design is like the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s may not have a style per se because everything is kind of being tattooed, but I could walk up to someone and be like, you got that in the 2000s, you got it in the 2010s, because you just watch the evolution of designs, whether it's a rose or a cross or whatever, and you're just kind of like, honestly, Pinterest did that.
Yep.
Like, you can just kind of tell, like, or like a fine line tattoo. Like, people weren't getting fine line tattoos 15 years ago. Like,
no, not even.
So if it's got like lines that I know are single needle or bug pen 3 with gray wash, I'm like 2015 on, 2020 even maybe.
Yeah.
And we don't even know how those designs are going to heal yet. I always say our job is so secure for the next 15 years because we're going to be doing cover-ups like wildfire in 10 years. All these tattoos that are being
falling out or blending.
Talk shit on them. Someone that watches the show called me out the other day and they're like, damn, you really don't like fine line and Pinterest tattoos. And I'm like, I have an opinion, right? In my opinion, I was telling the client today is like, I don't tattoo for Instagram. I think it's false advertisement that a lot of tattoo artists out there are just trying to get a dope fucking picture for today on their Instagram.
Yeah.
And they don't give a fuck how that tattoo is going to look in 10 years.
The old school guy that I went to high school with that helped me out a little bit when I was first learning how to tattoo, he always said something that always stuck with me. Don't tattoo for the photograph, tattoo for 20 years from now.
Amen, bro. Amen. It's a disservice, like, because I was telling him, I was like, nothing's more sad than like getting a sick tattoo that you're super hyped on. And honestly, let's face it, if you're going to one of the world's best fine line people, they charge so much fucking money. Remember that girl that came in with a little ballerina she got in New York that was 4x4 inches and what she paid, like $1,800 or maybe it was like
$4,000.
Yeah, it was.
It was dumb.
Yo,
it was nuts.
It was insane, and it looked like shit.
She's probably a TikTok star. That's why.
It looked like shit, dude. Like, and I don't mean like it looked like shit. It just like it had no structure. It had no longevity. The tattoo was 2 years old, and it looked like it was 15 years old. Like they're so faded and like. So, anyways, back to like getting a sick tattoo. That's a minimal fine line designer, watercolor, tiny fine, all done with 3-liners or single needles. Like, it looks sick when you get it. You pay your $1,000 or a couple thousand, and then in 6 months, it's hardly recognizable. And like, that's highway robbery. People can make fun of trad and black and all that shit as much as they want, but I'm like, at least it's going to look like that in 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Like,
yeah. Well, and with every style, I don't know about fine line, I guess, but like every style with the exception of fine line, like there are things you can do to increase the longevity of that tattoo. So when like, what was it, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when probably closer to 20 years ago with like color realism, color portraits, people were starting to think like, you know, you hear it all the time, like, it's going to be a puddle of mud, it'll be a blob of color in 10 years or whatever, and like...
Not true.
And that's not true. Like, I feel like with color realism, color portraits, even black and gray, like, once you tattoo that, like, if the client takes care of it, it will be fine.
Right.
Keep sunscreen on it. Don't fuck it up during healing. Like, it will look the same in 10 years, 15 years. But one of the things you can do is like just turn up that contrast a little bit.
Yeah.
So if the less line work you've got, turn that contrast up, man, and then like those shadows, that heavy shadowing will hold the thing together.
Yes. I was gonna say I like to look at it like on a tone scale where you have 0 being white and 10 being black. You just need to hold, if you're gonna do a watercolor or a painterly or a color realism portrait, you just need to be working with like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 as your bones. You can't do a soft shadow on the cheek. You need to put like a 7, even though in a painting you would do a 4, but knowing in 5 years that 7 is going to lean more towards a 5 or a 4.
There should be at least 3 or 4
shades darker than you would. Yeah. And the whole tattoo looks dark when they get it, and you're kind of doing that like, I know it looks dark right now, but just trust me, when it heals, it's going to lighten up a whole space on the tone scale. And then in 5 years, we're in Colorado. People are never wearing shirts and always outside and whatever, especially if you're in Florida or SoCal, Texas. Like, the sun is going to beat the shit out of your tattoo.
For sure.
So I have to put these darks in, even though it's a baby's face and there's no wrinkles or real shadows. But it's like, I have to do this for the sake of your future tattoo.
Yeah, where you can get by with like such more subtle things like hue changes on canvas or with colored pencil or even your iPad. But like once it goes on the skin, you got to broaden that separation out a little bit so that when it does heal, otherwise it'll just meld together if they're too close.
Like this, if we're painting or tattooing this, where it's like that's a really bright yellow, almost a lime green. If I just punch this back to like a middle green, that's probably more like a 3. If I bring it to like a 5, when it heals, it's going to go to a 4.5. But in 5 years or 2 years even, it's going to be almost a lime green, and then it's just gonna stay like that for a really fucking long time. Because I feel like tattoos, like they're how they are when you get them for like 6 months maybe, or not even the same, but like pretty close. And then a year or two, and they really start setting the skin, and you start to see colors fall out, or light blacks lighten up or whatever. And then from like 2 years to 20 years. They kind of look like this is a 20-year-old or a 15-year-old tattoo, and it's looked the same for 12. It looked different when I first got it, but now that it's set in and it's been beat up by the sun and life, like it's just pretty much the same. Like the lines have expanded as pretty much as far as they're gonna expand.
Yeah.
I do love looking at the like tattoo fresh and then like 10 years later, because those lines that are a 9-round liner, not that thick, like a Sharpie line from the tip, 10 years from now it's double that. I'm such a bold, like love trad, but I've been thinking recently like, okay, maybe I should be lining with like a 12-round shader when I want that really bold shit versus like a 14, or I should use like a 9 or an 11 instead of like a 14, because you put a 14-round shader in today and like that's a thick fucking line and it looks sick. But like 5 years from now, that thing is a 20-something. Like, it's fucking huge.
100%.
And then you're just losing detail and lines start to merge. And it's just unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, and I look at some of my tattoos that I've gotten over the years when like some of the ones I've gotten where sunscreen was less of a priority for me versus the ones that I get after sunscreen has been more of a priority for me, and you can just see it. Like
it's so nice and day.
The ones that I was diligent about keeping sunscreen on, or they're in spots on my body that never sees the sun. Those look just as they look pretty much the same as I did when I put them in or when I got them done. And then the ones that are like on my like arms, I did a bunch of climbing. I used to never wear a shirt back when in like the 90s and shit like that. And those tattoos suffered,
Yeah, they do, man.
You can't hardly even tell what they are anymore.
Really. And I like I hate to say it, but like I love like my like gamer clients that like literally don't get sun, and I'm just like they'll come in like 2 years later with like a forearm piece, and I'm like, damn.
And their skin's whiter than your shirt.
Like you literally just got that.
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Like your
yeah.
blacks are black as night. Nothing's really like expanded. Yeah, I don't want to spend my life inside, but
it's like
tattoos look fucking great.
It's like Maggie from the old shop.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Oh my god,
her skin was like
vibrant.
Her skin was whiter than white, and
It was porcelain.
you could see like you almost couldn't tell when she got more tattoo work done because it all looked brand new.
It all looked like her arm was so colorful and beautiful, and like
shit that she got 5 years ago looked the same as shit she got 5 minutes ago.
Honestly, do you mind passing me that water bottle?
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Of course.
Pause. But yeah, and I think with the new, just tying back to design, like people are able to work inside and make more money nowadays rather than 20 plus years ago. Like a lot of people worked with their hands; they worked outside. Like
yeah.
And unless you worked in a big city in an office or whatever, and those people weren't really getting tattoos, but they are, with the pigments getting so much better and the application and the healing, like second skins and all that, like, and then couple that with people being inside a lot more, and being in more of a digital world, like design wise, we can get away with a lot more today than we could 15, 20 years or 30, 40, 50 years ago. Just knowing, like, I don't know, I'm curious, does your design process change when you're tattooing a pale gamer versus a blue collar pipe player?
100%. And it's funny that you mentioned that because that was literally going through my brain when I was trying to concoct like what I'm going to say to Josh next. And it was that, like, there's been moments where, so you'll get a client that comes in and they're like, you do the consult, maybe they have a little bit older skin or darker skin, or, they're outside a bunch. Any of those stories, I guess, could be true here, but like, and they'll tell you like, I want a tiger. I'm really open to style, and whereas me, like, if it's white skin, I know they're indoors a lot, like 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be like, we should do a realistic tiger today. But on those older skins or like darker, or like if these are people that are, again, outside out all the time, I will never recommend realism. I'll always pull out like minimally neo-trad.
Right.
Because I get some line work in there and I can have it.
Some blacks or dark.
More of a hope that it's going to look good in 20 years still.
True.
Yeah. Whereas I think realism, I do think with color realism especially, black and gray as well, like if those clients aren't taking care of it, or if their skin's kind of darker or aged or worn already, they're not a good candidate for it. And you do have to qualify the customer sometimes.
I would say so too, man. I mean, like, there's sleeves that I'm like, it's 100% dependent on the person and the lifestyle they live.
Yeah.
And
100%.
like, it sounds like we're being like judgy of people's skin, but it's like, dude, I'm doing you a solid right now. Like, you don't want that. You can get away with like high contrast realism, really dark blacks, and like a lot of like skin showing through. I don't believe in really using white ink and black and gray realism, but that's a whole nother conversation we can have. But it just, the skin, like if you get a ton of sun, I'm like, we gotta either go super high contrast black and gray realism or traditional, just because like we can't do this like super soft Chicano gray wash.
No. It won't even be there.
It's like doing like super soft Chicano black and gray on like an African. Like, it's like, dude, it's just like, then I'm gonna have to use white, and that whole tattoo is gonna be held together with white, and I just don't think that's a good process of how to go through a tattoo.
It's funny, like,
holding it together with white is not a great idea.
What we're talking about now makes me kind of think like traditional tattoos, like they kind of worked for everybody.
Yeah.
Because they were such a like bold hold, line work, color, heavy black, Like it
no
was
matter
like,
really how
it
dark.
didn't matter.
Or
It was
light
almost
you
like a one size fits all kind of tattoo situation.
and I think that's why a lot of people hold on to the nature of traditional tattooing, where it's just like, I know I can tattoo this on everybody. Like, imagine sitting down and like putting a design out in the world on Instagram or whatever, like available design. If it's watercolor, pinks and teals and purples, you just eliminated 60% of people that can get that tattoo.
Accurate.
If you do a black and gray traditional rose, pretty much everyone in the world is a candidate for that tattoo.
100%.
So it's like, I get you like this, but, and if you've already developed your clientele and your career and all that, and you only do, going back to Maggie, her favorite artist, I can't remember her name off the top of her head. She's from Mexico City, and she does like beautiful, like almost new school ornate kind of style, and it's all pastels, like lilac or lavenders and like teals and baby blues and pinks and yellows, and like that's great for her because she has 500,000 followers or whatever, and she's booked till the sun goes down. But like, not a lot of people can get those tattoos and wear them well for their life.
It's interesting that Maggie likes her because that's a good fit.
She wants her to do her neck so bad. Damn, we'll figure out her name. I'll show you a picture of her art. It's
so not only until like techniques got different, inks got better, needles got better, equipment got better, were we able to like start thinking about losing some of those constraints of
the past rules,
tattooing and the past rules and stuff like that.
And just clientele has really changed. So like that goes hand in hand with it. Like we used to, I don't want to say we because I am not a part of this era, but when it was like bikers and blue collar people getting tatted and carnival people, like that, everyone worked outside. Everyone was just always in the sun. And like, that's why trad was worn by pretty much everyone, in my opinion.
No, you're right. To that point, I actually watched, I don't know if you've seen Tattoo Nation.
Yeah.
I watched that last night. It just pops up on my YouTube feed. And they were talking about like that era with the bikers and stuff like that. And they were like, you know, according to that, it was like, it was almost less about what the tattoo looked like or what the tattoo was, more about just like a middle finger to society.
I was gonna say
having a tattoo.
A brand.
That was more what it was about, having a tattoo, and less about what it looked like or
100%.
how it healed in 20 years.
Right, they didn't
like
give
that.
a shit. They just wanted some ink.
It was more of
skin.
a rebellious act and just a way to separate yourself from the normies, as they say.
Yeah. I was gonna bring something up that I thought was interesting. Damn. It's elusive. No.
Elusive.
Fuck, we'll cut this. But,
not to be mistaken with exclusive.
Yeah, fuck it. On to the next.
Okay.
Well,
I was just trying to think what we were talking about.
Yeah,
I'll check time too while we're doing this.
We're
only about a half hour in.
Oh, really? No, we're about an hour.
About an hour. We should wrap up pretty soon.
Yeah. I saw a funny quote the other day that was like, Paul Booth said it. He was like, I mean, let's face it, this tattoo was created by carnies and felons. And like, so for a long time, and that's not no shade to anybody, but that's kind of where American tattooing kind of stems from. Like, rough people. And so in the design light of the conversation, like, design really changed a lot in the last 30 years when like you got people who go to art school and go to college and or you know that are not felons at 14, like people that have been exposed to like upper echelons of society and like been to the Sistine Chapel and all the, you know, like they're drawing in their experiences and knowledge and all this like culture essentially. And that starts like really birthing artists that are like pushing the boundaries every day. And so we're just in that era now of like, it's no longer
I've recently
people
seen
hopping on train cars.
No,
tattooing.
it's not. It's not. And
some
like,
people go to like master's educations at Juilliard or Florence Art.
yeah, and I think that when that started happening, people that were college educated artists or already like accomplished painters or sculptors in their own right, and then they started trying to, work with a tattoo machine, like that. I think that's around the time that all this evolution started to happen. Like we're leaving just the regular traditional rules and like developing our own rules and our own styles, like new school, neo-trad, fine line, painterly, whatever. And a lot of that is coming from, you've got these people that were actually, because like we talked about earlier today, even some of those traditional artists from back in the like 30s, 40s, up to the 70s or so, like they weren't necessarily even artists.
Right, technicians.
They were technicians. And then now you start getting this new wave of artists that, did go to art school or studied art their whole life or whatever. And like, they're trying to figure out how I can take what I've learned in traditional art school learnings and bring it over into the art of tattooing. And like, that's where all that evolution, I think, happened. And
dude, you said something so funny, and I completely agree with that. It's so funny how like tattooing in America was like birthed by those types of people, right? Like rule breakers and like fuck society and like just alternative lifestyle. But then we put all these crazy ass shackles and constraints on like how to tattoo. And it still bleeds into today where like you still got the old heads at the shop that's like, and I'm over here like all tattoos need black, so call me an old head, whatever. But like, we're just like, fuck the man, fuck rules. And then we're like, but you have to do a tattoo like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute, dude. I did not get into tattooing to be told by someone how to tattoo.
Right.
Experience and knowledge is important. Seeing your work come back 10 years later when you're trying new things is like, you got to like keep up on those clients and be like, yo, send me a pic every like couple years. Like, I just want to, we tried something new. I want to see how that worked out later down the road. But yeah, it's just hilarious.
That is pretty funny. It's like, fuck the man. Did you just put white in that traditional tattoo? What the fuck?
You don't fucking put white in realism.
You can't break rules like that.
It's like, dude, you were just smoking crack in the parking lot.
You just robbed a bank, asshole.
Beat the shit out of your...
Chill out.
So funny, dude.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Fuck rules.
But here's the rules if you want to work in this style.
If you want to work in this shop, you follow the rules.
Because they all have styles. They all have rules, I guess.
And I mean, they do, and that's really... But I think like the whole...
Some less so than others.
Millennial Gen Z kind of is coming in like, I see your rules, but I'm going to try this.
Bend them a little
And
bit.
then they go open up a private studio.
Well, yeah.
Because they can't deal with being shit on all the time.
Yeah.
That's going to look like shit in 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I'm just going to go start my millennial tattoo studio. I don't have to hear about it.
I heard you're ready for a new apprentice also. What's it then? 600 days? Yeah, you're due for two new apprentices.
600 days.
Year and a half? Yeah, you're solid.
Oh, yeah.
Go teach them.
You should get these... You should usher in the new...
Get more people like you.
Usher in the new wave. Yeah, exactly. Blind leading the blind.
We'll see how that all fucking turns out in 4 years. Oh, shit. Yeah, well...
All right.
Do you have anything to add to...
No.
Design and rules and...
I don't.
Daddy, shout out to you guys. Thank you for everything you did for tattooing.
Exactly. So we will get throughout the episode, right? We said that we'll put pictures up of all the artists.
We'll show you guys all the stuff we're talking
kind of talked about today.
And going forward, definitely just gonna add more visuals and just so we're not just yapping and you have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. We're learning and evolving in our editing abilities. So that's where we're trying to make the show cool, man. We're giving you all we got.
Amen. Hell yeah. Anyways, I'm Josh.
I'm Dray. This is a wrap, I think.
Share, like, comment. Please share, honestly. That's huge for us.
Follow, sharing's big.
Yeah, just
tell your friends about us.
We really appreciate it.
Like I always say, we're trying to be a tattoo podcast for the people. And yeah, help us out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Love you guys.
Till next time. Peace.
Go! Good out,